Hello, everybody, back with another chapter today. I will preface this by saying that I just finished recording the 40-minute podfic one-shot that's should be out before this one. So my voice might be a little tired, but I don't really want to record tomorrow. I want to do it today. And I'm supposed to be studying for a math test, but procrastination is the best. But anyway, I am really excited to read this chapter, not necessarily because it's something I haven't read before, even though I'm completely new to these going forward, but rather because I looked at chapter 10 just to kind of see if I would do 2 chapters today, and I forgot that was the chapter that I was told that I could skip. And now I know why. I haven't read it, obviously, because I need this one, but I am really excited to read that one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Perfect Sun by That One Guy with That One Ship. Chapter 9. Abandonment Issues. Cala'i Bay was as amazing as it was said to be. The tide came in calm, relaxed, and the shape of the cliffs created a beautiful basin in which the bay resided. It was a small space, but that simply made it all the more breathtaking, all the more magical. It was easy to let the waves carry away all their troubles, let the breeze restore their souls. It was impossible not to fall asleep to the sounds of the sea, and it felt entirely safe. Gladion had found peace there. It was rare that he could ever find even an instant to drop his guard. He had learned fast and never forgot. If you think you're safe, you're not. Not safe from his mother, not safe from Guzma, and for a while he was even afraid of Sun, who had routinely decimated his team of Pokemon and made Null look entirely useless. But with the unspoken promise of Cala'i Bay hanging in the air, he felt safe enough to take a break. The waves glittered in the moonlight, sheets of light gliding over the surface of water. Lillie was the one awake now, on guard. Gladion was sleeping, lying on one of the large flat rocks that cut apart the shoreline in a jagged beauty. Lillie was struggling. She didn't believe she was worth all the mess they were in. Like Gladion had said, Hal and Sun were dead because of her. Nebby and Null had been separated from them. Her thoughts had wandered to dark places, her mind slipping in and out of the thick mire of depression. The strongest fear wasn't that they'd be caught by their mother, but that the presence would make them just like her. Gladion's psyche was already showing cracks, resembling Lusamine's broken mind. If it came down to it, Lillie would absolutely take the easy way out instead of ending up like her. Anything could happen, so long as she wasn't like Lusamine. She looked down at her pale hand and felt a now familiar headache brewing. Sun and Lusamine shared a moment there. Lusamine stroking Sun's forehead, Sun saying nothing, doing nothing, his expression neutral. "Sun," she said, and he registered his interest with an almost invisible rise of his eyebrows. "Miss Wick is coming here in a short while to speak with you." Sun's eyebrows subsequently dropped to a hardly expression. "What for?" His voice wasn't entirely abrasive, but it wasn't neutral. "We're just going to talk. I'll be there too." Sun relaxed. "You..." Sun looked into the furthest corner of the room as if there was something of great interest there. You're not going to get rid of me, are you?" He was quiet, afraid, withdrawn. "No, Sun, no." Lusamine pulled him into a hug. He hugged her in kind. "Sun, why would I ever want to get rid of you?" She loosened her hold on him so she could look closer at him without letting go. "My perfect..." "But being perfect..." "Sun, You are beautiful. You are perfect." He didn't seem convinced. Lusamine lay him back down. "I'll come up to get you when Wick arrives." She got up off the bed and gave Sun one last glance. He looked so shrunken, so recessed. Before she'd even left, he started to wrap himself in the duvet. It wasn't cold, was it? The corridors connecting the rooms were so blank. All the photos of Lillie and Gladion were gone. Most of the photos of herself were gone. Some of the art was gone. In her fervor to rip out the cancer of her biological children and replace that sickness with Sun, she had gone through everything in the mansion to ensure it met a new standard of perfection that could match up to her and Sun. Everything felt lifeless now, sterile, and maybe that was good. Like a petri dish once thriving but since burned away to nothing, leaving only a foundation for another colony. Clean it all, just like Sun. Clean it all, remove all the corruption that her children had spread through his sweet mind, and replace it with beauty. If nothing worked, if Sun remained obsessive, she could freeze him until they were ready to try something else. There was always that. Freezing him would be a little hazardous to his health, but it would keep him safe, keep him perfect, maybe forever. Hide him away in the trophy room deep below the foundation with all the other specimens. She felt a shiver of excitement course up her spine like electricity. Sun, a monument to himself and her, a statue to what made them perfect. The idea was tantalizing, delicious, but one that was both impractical and suboptimal. Sun could be worked out yet, his errors removed with a little tweak of conditioning here, some wheedling and convincing there. The image of him, frozen, seeing but unseeing, stuck in a perpetual half-life, nagged at her mind. If he wasn't already perfect, if he wasn't already dedicated to being her son, she may have done it, while he was still himself, the ugly creature afflicted with the blights of her children. She could have put him on ice and left him deep below the paradise. Her thoughts took her to the main room and onto the black couch where she waited for Wick's arrival with a datapad in hand, keeping up to date with Alola's happenings. No reports of Sun's vanishing. Kids had a tendency to simply vanish, especially those on Pokemon journeys, which were fraught with danger and creatures that could easily kill you without even thinking to. Sun wasn't an idiot. He had known what to do and when, and that was what took him so far across the island challenge. Most journeys ended in a trainer either crippled or scarred for life, or often both. He had become a mini-celebrity, but those were made all the time and disappeared just as fast, some random act of chance conspiring to end the prodigy's quest early. That she should have the honor of being the one to halt the Cantonian in his tracks and effectively delete him from history made her smile. The main room was the only place where a photo of the family still resided. A picture of Gladion holding a cleffa on his head, while Lillie hugged a Lillip. Behind them she stood, a smile on her face that she could no longer remember the honesty of. It rested on the mantelpiece above the black fireplace, which hadn't been lit in years. Lusamine couldn't quite bring herself to remove it. Sentimentality was a single weakness that she indulged in. It was back when Gladion was a good boy, when Lillie was adorable, when Lusamine was... Before she became so interested in the ultraspace, she wasn't wearing her white and gold dress, instead wearing a dress split between black and white, two sides in conflict. Now, though, she wore a plain white, a trim of gold, a beautiful and luxurious outfit befitting one such a status as herself. Lusamine had accepted her place as the perfect being. Her thoughts guttered and blinked out of existence. Her face twitched. Those times with Lillie and Gladion, times of happiness, would never come back. Never be replicated. She had to find a new measure of happiness, and she felt like she was on the cusp of being able to grasp it and finally become normal again. She went back to the mantra of madness. Lillie, Gladion, Sun. Lillie, Sun, Lillie, Gladion. That wasn't right. Sun. How had she forgotten him? Sun, 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 she repeated. She was reminded that she hadn't had the desk replaced, still covered in her makeshift graffiti. Sun, Gladion, Lillie. A perfect family. That was what she had wanted. If they'd just been obedient, she'd love them with all her heart. Sun was all she needed. She switched off the datapad and stared into the black mirror, looking for imperfection, finding none. Miss President? Lusamine jolted at the voice. Wick had come in unannounced. She relaxed at her assistant branch manager's friendly face. Are you feeling well? Yes, Wick, yes. Lusamine stood up. Shall we speak to Sun? Lusamine made an expression. Wick had a difficulty identifying. It was like fear, but not truly scared. Apprehension, maybe? Her delicate eyebrows were marginally raised in concern, and her mouth wasn't wide open, but it wasn't shut. Yes. Are you scared of him? Wick's question was entirely innocent. No challenge, no ulterior motive that may have been there when Faber asked it. No, I hope we can help him. The president's sincerity made Wick think that maybe, with a bit of nudging, the president could see the insanity in all of this and somehow undo it and change it all for the better. Wick didn't comment, however. She had to be sure that Lusamine wouldn't just explode at her if she chose to protest. Lusamine took a deep breath. Sun! She called. Sun!
Coming, Mother.
His eager footsteps rang down the hallway. The two women exchanged a glance. Sun dashed down the stairs and slid to a halt in the center of the room. Hello, Sun, Wick greeted, her voice kind. Thankfully, Sun seemed amicable towards her.
Hi, Miss Wick.
Wick sat beside Lusamine. Would you like to sit down with us?
Yes, please,
Sun said, and squeezed in between them, Wick moving up to be further from Lusamine so Sun could be beside her. Lusamine drew him closer, and he leaned against her with a big grin, looking up as she stroked his hair. Lusamine was well aware of the odd habit she had developed, and it was all that prevented her from changing his hairstyle. It was nice to put his fingers through it.
Hi,
he said again, feeling a little awkward. He didn't really want to share moments like this with Wick. Hi, Sun. She gave him a little wave. Sun reciprocated it, again feeling a little awkwardly. Did your mother tell you what I'm here for?
She said that you wanted to speak with me.
Sun pressed further back against Lusamine shyly.
There's nothing wrong with me. I promise.
He looked afraid. Oh no, Sun, that's not what this is about, Lusamine assured, Sun twisting to look at her, eyes wide and eyebrows raised, the cute expression of someone wholly dependent on her.
Please, Mother, I'm not bad.
Sun, please trust me.
Mother, it's not.
Sun, it's fine. It's fine. She tipped his chin in his hand, bopping his nose with her finger. He shook off the contact, confused, sniffling like a Pokemon. Lusamine giggled. Relax, my darling. Sun took a deep breath.
What is it?
Well, how do you feel about your mother? Wick asked, looking at Lusamine for guidance. Lusamine nodded, the notion too small for Sun to notice. I love her, he said, snuggling even closer beside her, pushing against the soft black couch. I love her a lot. That's good, Sun, Wick said with a smile. It was forced, but it looked far more natural than any other Lusamine had seen. She appreciated the effort. And Lusamine, how do you feel about Sun? Lusamine gave Wick a quizzical look. Of course, I love him too, she replied. Sun, how do you feel about your mother's business, this whole foundation? Wick gestured with her hands, forming a circle in the air while speaking the word whole. Sun's smile remained in place. It's great. I really like Pokemon too, he said. I know them all. Lusamine glanced down at him, feeling him stiffen. How do I know them all? His voice wasn't excited now. When did I learn about them? Wick's eyes widened and she glanced at Lusamine. Lusamine recognized this as her problem to solve. Wick knew nothing about what was being done to his head. Son, I don't think that's important, right? But I know them all. He looked puzzled. How do I... Lusamine took his shoulder in an iron grip. Son. Mother, how do I... Son? Her tone was no nonsense. He continued to look bemused for a moment, then shook himself off and brought back a smile. I like it, he said. It must take a lot to run it, don't you think? Wick took Sun's brief confusion in her stride. Yes, but that's why Mother's amazing, he said. She certainly is, Son. Lusamine was amazing, all right. Amazing in how she had done all this to him and gotten away with it. How she continued to throw morality aside with abandon. But she's going to need to run everything full-time soon, and that means she can't be with you. Sun's face fell. He paled. No, I don't want her to go. I don't want her to go. Son, she won't be gone. You'll still see her. She'll just not be with you all the time. Wick reached out to comfort him, but he shrunk away. We just need you to understand that. Mother, you're not... Don't abandon me, please. Lusamine cuddled him tight, his head pressed against her cheek. He blushed slightly, but maintained his look of worry. She had a terrible idea. Maybe there was a way to state him, so she wouldn't pine for her so strongly. The idea would satisfy her desire too. Maybe, just maybe, he'd appreciate the full extent of her love. Son, what are you? I'm your perfect boy. Yes, you are. I'll never abandon you. Wick nodded along with the conversation, ignoring her skin crawling. Son, would you be okay with that? Sun twiddled his fingers. I might get lonely. We'll see about bringing your sister and brother back here, Lusamine said. Sun smiled at the mention of his mysterious siblings. What are they like? Lusamine gently removed Sun from her lap and crossed the room, picking up the single picture. Here, she said, handing it to him without looking at it herself. What are they called? Lusamine's lips were pursed. Wick spoke. Your sister is called Lillie, and your brother Gladion. They're a little older now, Wick said, knowing the photo in the frame. I want to meet them. Lusamine didn't reply. She regretted bringing them up. Mother, can I meet them? Maybe, son. She hugged him again, lying back on the couch with him, on top. Maybe. They look as perfect as... Son, what? Lusamine looked unstable. Wick saw the expression and distracted him. So, if they were here, you think you could manage your loneliness better?
Yes, Miss Wick. I like you, he added.
Thank you, son. Me and your mother will discuss it some other time. Discussions would most certainly take place. Found them yet?
Nah, Miss Prez. We've been tearing the island up, but we ain't found nothing.
Remember when I said there was no rush?
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Oh.
Check every inch of that island. If they get away, Arceus knows what I'll do.
Yes, Miss Prez.
Stop calling me that.
Sorry, Miss... Prez.
Idiot. If you can't do this, I'll need to find someone else.
Give me a chance here. Please.
I gave you a chance.
Give me two.
Something about his quick response and lack of awareness made her smile despite her annoyance. Fine. Okay, so that was chapter 9. It's a bit shorter than... I think it was because there's more dialogue in it in comparison, which I love, honestly, because it gives me a chance to practice that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that chapter, and I will see you with chapter 11 next week.